Another close call. Luckily, that's gonna be fixed soon.
We have a big problem, and what you just saw has become the norm for us every time we enter and leave an RV park. We run out of bed rail clearance, and the top of our bed rails in our truck end up touching the bottom of our camper, and it's already caused damage. As you can see, my camper and my truck have been talking to each other, and it's not good. When this first started happening, I started researching, are other people having this problem? Am I doing something wrong? What is the issues causing my truck to run out of bed rail clearance and hit my fifth wheel? They say you need 5 to 6 inches to pull these campers. Right here, we have 5. You think we'd be good, but we're not. And all I came out to was there's a very few group of people that are having the same problem, but no one actually has the answer. And what I found is that no one has the same setup. So I have a BMW turnover companion hitch in the bed of my truck. My camper came with the Lippert Rota-Flex, which is the standard pin box for a Momentum. I believe now the standard pin box is a MORRIDE. More on that in a minute. What I came across is that all the people that were still running the Lippert Rota-Flex had the Anderson hitch installed, which with its adapters added about 2 more inches. So they would never experience this problem except for the extreme circumstances. So the MORRIDE, which is now the current standard pin box on a Momentum, it adds 1.5 to 2 more inches, which just like the people that are running the Lippert Rota-Flex and the Anderson hitch, you would only see the problems in the extreme circumstances. Now, if I had the MORRIDE installed from the factory, I probably would not have ever changed it out, because for the most part, we just barely touch. We've only touched really bad a few times, and that would have probably saved us there from having the damage that we have. I started exploring alternative options. So Lippert has a trail air pin box with an airbag and a shock absorber. That one actually would solve my problems, but there was 2 things that kept me from wanting to go that route. One, all the owners I talked to said that there are times if you have an aftermarket bed cover, which I do, when you make tight turns more than 90 degrees, the back of the pin box will actually get hung up in the side of the bed rail in the truck and damage your bed cover rails. Also, they said that over time, the airbag starts to leak and not hold pressure, and it becomes another thing that you have to maintain and think about and remember to do before travel days. I didn't want to overcomplicate a hitch, so I kind of wrote that one off. Next up, I came across the Reese Goose Box, which it has its benefits. One being, I can remove the fifth wheel hitch in my truck and go to a clean bed and only have to deal with a turnover ball. But the problem came back is the Reese Goose Box operates off an airbag. So it's the same issues as the Trail Air from Lippert, but in a different package. So then I moved on to Gen Y. And Gen Y basically makes a goose box or gooseneck conversion, but without the airbag, which I really like that option because it's a maintenance-free hitch that you order based on your pin weight, and it just does its thing. There's no greasing, there's no airbag to worry about. Install it and forget it. So I called them up and started talking to him, and the first thing he said to me was, "You must own a Momentum or a DRV." And I said, "You must be the guy I need to talk to, because everybody else I've talked to tells me there's something wrong with my truck or my trailer. They don't understand the problem I'm having." So he said most people research pin boxes because they want to eliminate chucking and make for a smoother ride. He goes, however, there is a big portion of you guys out there that are looking for a pin box solution to fix your bed rail clearance. And he goes, most of the time it's on the campers that are 20,000 GVW or more. So most of the time it's a Momentum or it's the DRV lineup. We got to talking more, and I told him, I was like, I really like the idea of the torsion gooseneck, but I'm not sure I'm committed to the gooseneck conversion. And he says, you do know we offer an executive Gen Y pin box that will work just fine with your BMW fifth wheel. He got to explain to me the specs, and this pin box was going to add almost 10 inches from where it sits today. And I could dial it back in by how I installed it on the camper and the level of adjustment on my BMW fifth wheel in the bed of my truck. So the more he talked, the more I realized I probably need to go this route. We ordered it and it's on the way and we're gonna install it. So once we made the decision to order a new pin box, we had to figure out how to prevent us from destroying our camper between then. So we came up with a solution. We decided to move our B&W hitch as far back as it would go. I know you're not supposed to go past the axle, but we were doing this to prevent any further damage to our camper and our truck. Also, every time we get to an RV park, we would pull over on the side of the road and we would deflate our airbags, allowing the truck to squat some, because that would provide us another inch or so between the camper and the truck, and it helped us manage the problem until we were able to meet up with Phil and Lolo and get our pin box. Guess what finally showed up? The solution to our problems. We may never have to work hard to get into an RV park again. Look at that baby right there. Oh man, look at her shine. Can't wait to put you on. The day has come. We're finally gonna change out our pin box. But first, I went ahead and hooked the truck back up and got it the right height. We're gonna take some measurements real quick so we know where we started, so we can see what we end up with. Okay, so we know the new pin box is gonna add some inches right here, and we wanna make sure we don't take away too many from the back. So we're gonna take baseline measurements at about 4 or 5 spots. First one, just so we know we're in the same spot, it's gonna be the bed rail.
Bring the ground up.
We know we're at 55 1/4 right there, so we'll make sure the truck's in the same spot when we put it back together.
Okay.
All right, our next one is this front marker light. We are at 59 3/4 roughly.
Okay.
It's a little crooked, but close enough.
Okay.
Our bed rail clearance, this is the reason we're changing this out, is only 4 inches. It's not really that bad, but the camper's on a little bit of a lean. The other side's got about 6. And then we're gonna measure our lowest point to the ground, which is drug the ground quite a few times. It's about 7 1/4.
Okay.
And our last measurement will be the back of the trailer. And that marker light's roughly 27 inches.
Okay.
All right, so when we get done, we'll compare them and see where we gave inches and where we took them away. Got any last words for this old pin box?
See you later, alligator.
Bye-bye, Rota-Flex.
Anybody want one? It'll be for sale for real cheap.
It'll probably work on everyone's camper, but a real heavy one.
Yeah. Somebody will need it, maybe.
Bye-bye, Rota-Flex.
Bye, Rota-Flex.
Okay, the easy bolts are out.
What's up next?
Oh, it's your turn. You gotta take these big bolts out.
We might be here a while.
So I'm gonna pull this bolt out.
What's gonna happen?
And we're gonna pivot it down.
Okay.
This is so we don't mess up our wires.
We're halfway there. Maybe.
With it, there is. Just wiggle it lightly. That's it, that's good. You can pull it up.
All right, we got the bolts in. Now we're gonna torque them to 160 foot-pounds.
Whatever that means. Go for it. Okay, so what's next?
Now we gotta drill some holes for our brake controller and to hold up our trailer lights.
Oh, okay.
And that's that.
What is this thing?
That's your breakaway brake. So if the truck and trailer decide to stop being hooked together, it sets the brake on the trailer so it doesn't run down the highway just doing whatever it wants.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty important.
That's a must-have.
So we just got the new kingpin installed and hooked back up to the truck and took our first measurements. We're gonna have to make some adjustments. We're actually gonna lower the hitch some, and we need to pull it back forward to get it back over the axle. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and then we'll show you the end result. Right. So the bed rail is still 55, so that's still the same height.
Okay.
Our new front marker is 63.5, and the old one was what?
59 3/4.
Okay, there's math there. Our new bed rail clearance, which is what we were after, is 7.5 inches. So we've got 3.5 more inches now between the truck and the camper.
Awesome.
And we've already measured the back, and it is 2.5 inches lower than when we started. So right now, I've moved the hitch back over the axle and I've lowered it 1 notch. We're gonna leave it like this for our next move and make adjustments if we need to. Okay, so we've been 500 miles now with our new Gen Y Executive pin box, and we left it on the settings we set it up at when we installed it. And right now we have the B&W over the axle in the middle setting, and we're still just a little nose high, but so far the camper is riding way better than it ever has rode, and we haven't had an issue with running out of bed rail clearance. All right, so in this one you can kind of see, instead of being nose down, now we're a little nose up. I'm actually thinking about sliding the fifth wheel in the bed of the truck back some to see if I can get a smoother ride between the camper and the truck. We've been about 1,000 miles now, and we've done one more adjustment. We actually lowered the B&W down to its lowest setting, which has the camper riding pretty level with the ground, and we've moved it about 2 inches back. So currently right now we're roughly 2 inches behind the axle, which I know for all you tow police is a no-no. But when it was over the axle, it just felt like it was beating the truck up. Now that I'm behind the axle, it's really calmed things down. It's a lot smoother. You can see it runs pretty level all the way through front to back. We're gonna take it for a spin and let you know how it works out. But so far, this hitch is pretty awesome. Okay, so what do I think of my Gen Y Executive pin box? Well, I've had it on now for a little over 1,000 miles, and so far it has done what it's supposed to do. It's solved my problem with my bed rail clearance. We went from roughly 4 inches to almost 9 inches. So we have not yet had a situation where we couldn't take our camper in and out of any RV park. Also, the added benefit of the torsion system, after some adjustments, it's really starting to shine. It's really taking a lot of the chucking and the beating up of the truck when I'm driving on the highway. As you can see, what I'm going to show you, the old one, although until I filmed it, I didn't realize how violent it was. The old one really looked like it was beating the truck up bad. Now the new one still has some violence going on, but you can see the torsion arms reacting. And the thing is we don't feel it in the truck like we used to. Compared to the first one, when we hit those bumps, we knew it in the truck. The second one, we still feel that the road is rough, but it's not quite as hard on our truck when we hit the rough roads. So would I do it again? Of course. I think it's a great product, and I would really recommend you looking into them because it's maintenance free, and once you install it and dial it in, you don't even think about it again.